This first tip is a must. It is an absolute must. It's a non-negotiable. If you don't get this right, then your debt-free journey is not going to be successful. What's up and welcome back to my channel. And if you are new here, I'm Diana. I'm the creator of Money Boss Mama, where I teach women how to become a money boss from the inside out. And about a day ago, I asked you guys what type of video that you wanted to see. And of course, how to start your debt-free journey one. This is a question that I get all of the time. People are overwhelmed. They're like, how do I start? I don't even know where to start or how to start. So in this video, I'm going to be breaking it all down for you, giving you some quick yet very helpful tips on how to get started. So if this is something that you want to learn about, then continue watching. This first tip is a must. It is an absolute must. It's a non-negotiable. If you don't get this right, then your debt-free journey is not going to be successful. And that is prepping yourself mentally to take the journey. I know a lot of people are probably like, what debt do I start on? What makes the most sense mathematically? But honestly, the way that you manage your money is mostly behavior based. But honestly, think about it. When you are sad, you're happy, you're bored, then you are more prone to spend money. Your money revolves around your behavior and your mindset, because whatever thoughts that you are thinking, it is going to play out on how you actually manage your finances. And that's why a lot of times I know some people watching, you may have started your debt-free journey before and then you fell off because you lost motivation along the way, or you got discouraged and thought that you couldn't do it, so you quit. This journey is going to require confidence. You have to be confident in your ability to properly manage your money. Otherwise, you're just not going to do it. Your desire is to become debt-free. That requires confidence in your ability to become debt-free. So if you're not confident in your ability to become debt-free, mentally you really don't believe that you can do it, you're not going to do it. You're going to fall off the bandwagon. You may do good for a couple of months, but just like any other goal, like a New Year's resolution, you're not going to follow through with it. This is key. This is number one. First, prep yourself mentally to take this journey. Know that it is not going to be easy. Know that you are going to hit some difficult rough patches, but that you still have that vision of yourself reaching debt freedom at the end. So despite what happens, don't let your circumstances dictate your outcome. And if you're feeling discouraged or a lack of motivation, then oftentimes that's you putting your circumstances, you're putting too much focus on your circumstances versus what you actually desire, versus your goals. So I challenge you, before you do anything, before you try to go out and figure out what balance to start with, what makes the most sense mathematically, things like that, just to focus on working on your confidence and your faith, because you are going to need that in order to continue on, because a goal without any faith or confidence is not going to work out, because you're not going to put action towards it. The second thing to do is to break up your goal into milestones or smaller goals. The long-term goal is, of course, debt freedom, but depending on your income and your balance, your total debt balance, it may take you a while to reach that goal. And what happens when you have a big long-term goal that's going to take you a while to reach, you are going to often lose motivation and you're going to get discouraged and you're going to quit. But when you break up long-term goals into milestones or shorter goals, you are having quick wins along the way, and that gives you the boost of motivation that you need to continue going. So this is when you decide how you will start your debt-free journey. Will you start with your smallest debt balance? Will you start with the balance that takes the most income? Will you start with the highest interest rate? It all needs to make sense to you. I know that there are a lot of personal finance gurus. I really don't consider myself one, but some may. And so you want to adopt their strategies and apply it to your journey. But this is your journey. they don't have your mindset. You can't borrow their mind from them. So you have to do what lights you up and what makes the most sense for you. So just as I was rattling off, a couple of ways that you can start is with the smallest debt balance that you have. That is when you are new and you know that how you are mentally. If you are someone that loses motivation really, really quickly, you need that instant gratification of seeing the wins happening faster, then you may consider doing the debt snowball. So let's say that you have debt and your balances range from, you have an $8,000 auto loan, a $5,000 student loan, and then you have a $2,000 credit card. With the debt snowball, you will start with the $2,000 credit card balance because it is the smallest balance that you have. And when doing this, you are going to pay on your auto loan and your student loan. You're just going to pay the minimum, but then you are going to put most of your extra money towards the credit card debt. And then once you get that knocked out, you will take the money that you were once using on your credit card debt and roll it over into the next smallest debt in line, which would be your student loan balance. And with the debt avalanche, it makes most sense to those who focus on the numbers. So you know that you don't really have a problem with motivation and staying on track. You can keep yourself disciplined and numbers make the most sense to you. Then you can consider this debt payoff strategy. And this is when you tackle the debt with the highest interest rate. High interest debts are costing you the most money. So a lot of people like to take this route because in the long run, it's saving you the most money because you're knocking out that high interest debt first. So you don't have that interest eating up your payments anymore. But you may not see the wins as quickly as you would with the debt snowball because your high interest debt, that payment is going to interest. Well, the majority of it is, depending on your interest rate. And that high interest debt that you have may be the highest balance. So you're adding that higher balance and the highest interest rate together. That may take you a while before you really start seeing progress. But if this is something that it makes the most sense in your head and you are disciplined and you know that you can stick to it, then it can be really beneficial. And another strategy you can use is starting with the balance that is eating up the most of your income. This is what I started doing, and over the 4 years of my debt-free journey, I did change strategies just depending on where I was at the time and what made the most sense for me. But this is what I started with. My auto loan was eating up the majority of my income, so it made the most sense to me to start there. That way I could free up more money in my budget as I was knocking my auto loan down, because obviously once you get the balances down, you're not having as much interest that is being applied because your balance is not as high. So that's another strategy that you could look into as well. I'm not quite sure if there's a name for it, but it's still beneficial, and that had really helped me free up more money, especially because I started low income and then I worked my way into the moderate income bracket. The third thing you need to do is get on a budget. Yes, I know. Your skin just crawled. You are rolling your eyes. Budgets, I've heard it all, literally. But a budget will save your financial life. There is no way around it. You are going to need to tell your money what to do. Your money is like a lazy employee. If you don't tell your money exactly what it needs to do for you, it's not going to get done. And instead, it's just going to run into the hands of someone else. So if you are someone where you know you're making money, you know one day you have money, and then you check your bank account and you went from 100 to 0 real quick, then yes, you need a budget because your money just ran off and it did not go to you because you're looking for it, which means it didn't benefit you at all. But honestly, when I got on a budget, things started to change, and it changed super fast because now I was controlling my expenses, which maximized my income. So when you create your budget, you have to create it around your values. This is going to require you to sit down and really evaluate what is important to you. Is your shopping important to you? Are your manis and petties important to you? What is truly important to you? And this journey is going to require you to strip yourself down of your old identity. Don't expect to be the same person. You are going to completely transform. It's not just your finances that are transforming, it's you transforming as well. So you have to get comfortable being at your barest. Like, you're going to be completely naked because you can no longer hide behind the things that you were purchasing before. You are now trying to shift your finances, which is going to require you to let some things go. So whenever you're creating your budget, just remember that. But you want to make sure that you are giving your money a plan. Your budget is just a spending plan. It's telling your money what to do for you. Don't see it as a sacrifice. See it as a way to improve your finances and a way for you to be able to afford the things that are really of value to you. The fourth thing you need to do is establish an emergency fund. And I cannot tell you how many times people come to me and they're like, how do I start my debt-free journey? Which debt balance do you think I should start with? And then I ask them how much they have in savings, and they literally have nothing in savings. You have to think of it this way. Whenever you start paying on your debt balances, if something happens, what's going to be there to back you up? You need something to act as your safety net. And I know, like, I've been there before where you're looking at your debt balances and you literally feel sick to your stomach. You want that instant gratification of seeing them being knocked down. You cannot focus on anything but paying off your debt. But I challenge you to practice patience, because you don't want to knock yourself back 10 steps whenever you took 5 steps forward because you did not establish anything to CYA before you started. And a lot of times, I know the personal finance gurus, they like to go back and forth, on how much you should have put back in your emergency fund. It's said to have $1,000, but I'll be completely transparent. I did not start my debt-free journey with $1,000. I started with about $500 to $700 because I was low income, and honestly, it took me a while to get to that $500 to $700. And I knew that if I kept on trying to hit that $1,000 mark, I was going to be missing out on time because it was just going to take me a while. So for me, I put some faith on it and I walked with that $500 to $700, but this is not the ideal situation. I would encourage you to at least have $1,000, but if you can only get up to 500, I say 500 is the least amount, then I would say, as long as you feel confident in your job and confident in your ability to do this, then walk the journey. You just need something set back to help cover you. If something happens, you're not going to be like, oh, I just have $500 here. You're going to be like, thank God I have this $500. So see your emergency fund as a way to protect your debt-free journey's progress. And I do want to say that you can save money and pay off debt at the same time. That is what I did. So even though I had less than the $1,000, I was putting back about $10 to $20 from each paycheck because that's all I could afford. But still, I was putting back something in my emergency fund. So I was paying off debt and I was building my emergency fund at the same time. And when you do this, you do establish the habit of staying consistent on your debt-free journey because you are consistently sending off debt payments, as well as saving money consistently. So you're building the habit of saving money as well. So like, it's kind of like a win-win situation. But of course, if you are someone and your car is always breaking down, or you have a home, so something can happen with the home and it needs repairs. If you have large expenses that often come up, then I would recommend that you have at least $1,000 to start with. That way you're not getting discouraged, if something knocks you off track, because you have something there to help cover you. The fifth tip that I have is to evaluate and reevaluate your strategy. When you are starting out on your debt-free journey, you are new. And just like when you're new to anything else, it is important to evaluate what is working and what isn't working, because you want to make sure that the strategy that you are using is successful. And your life is always happening. Life is changing. Your income may change. Your circumstances may change. Or, you just picked a random strategy in the beginning and you found out that it's really not beneficial and you're not seeing the progress that you had expected. So you may want to evaluate and reevaluate so you know maybe what strategy works best for you. And don't just evaluate your progress on your debt. Evaluate your mindset as well. Is the strategy that you are using lighting you up? Is it motivating you, or is it making you feel completely miserable? Like if you are someone that tends to quit easily when things get tough, but you started using the debt avalanche, if it's making you feel miserable and you are on the verge of quitting, then you need to evaluate your strategy, and maybe the debt snowball would be more beneficial because you're starting with the smallest balance and you see those wins a lot faster. So as you progress on your debt-free journey, of course, you will start using a strategy that is more stable. But in the beginning, in order to get to that stable strategy, you want to make sure that you are evaluating the strategy that you started off with. That way you can make your tweaks and your changes as you go to perfect it. All right, so those were my 5 quick tips to help you get started on your debt-free journey. And I just want to run through them all really quickly. Remember to work on your mindset. Believe that you are capable, you are worthy, and you are able to pay off debt, because when you set the goal of paying off debt, that is a positive expectation of the future. You expect to become debt-free. You can't have a positive expectation of the future and a negative outlook on yourself. The two just do not go together. It's not going to work. You don't have to have a lot of faith and a lot of confidence, but just a little to get you started. And then as you see those wins, you're going to start feeling yourself, and then the confidence will grow. I promise you that. And then you want to figure out what strategy that you want to start with, depending on your mindset and your money and your balances. And then you want to create a budget. Sorry, girlfriend, the budget has to happen. Tell your money what to do. Make your money work for you. Don't focus on, I don't have enough, I need this much, I need XYZ. No, those are excuses. Focus on what you do have control of, and then make it work. And then you want to start an emergency fund to CYA, and then evaluate and reevaluate your strategy. If you are starting your debt-free journey this year, I wish you good luck. You are more than capable of doing this. I have come from humble beginnings, and if I can do it, I promise you there is nothing special about me. You just need to figure out what works for you. And if you've started your debt-free journey and you are in the thick of it, or you've already become debt-free, leave some tips down below in the comments about what helped you start and stay consistent. But in the meantime, I will see you all next week.